visualizing sky conditions using Ladybug as a plugin to Grasshopper and Rhino. What I'll be showing you how to do is to make these series of graphs and visualizations that you see on the left in the Rhino canvas. On the right, you see the Grasshopper definitions that I'm using to make these, and I'll show you how to go about doing that. When you first open up this template file, this will probably not have a value on it, and so when you open it, you'll see several orange components, and you won't see any of those graphs in the Rhino canvas. I will show you how to get there. So the way that these templates are organized, I have a series of numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are the major steps for you to follow in the template. And big picture, there's sort of 4 parts to this. There's selecting the climate, there's visualizing the heat maps, there's visualizing and selecting the skies, and then there's a scatter plot. You won't have to touch many of those elements. So the first place to start here is with the instructions. In the top left, you'll see this, which just orients you, says the instructions are all noted in red. Any informational variables are in yellow or white along the way. Follow these numbers. So the first step is in Rhino. Set your Rhino units to meters and change the top view display settings to monochrome. So to do that, I'm going to go to units and just make sure it's set to meters as it is there. And then in your view display settings, actually, I'm going to just do it right from here. By default, it probably shows up as shaded or wireframe, but if you select monochrome, then in particular, actually, let me show you this. This grid that shows up by default in the shaded view is going to overlay some of our graphs, so we don't want that. So monochrome should do the trick. That is the first step. The second step is to set the Boolean here to true, and a web page will open. So I'm going to click on that, and you can see this web page here. This shows a worldwide display or mapping of Energy Plus weather data EPW files, and I can search for any city. I'm going to use San Francisco, and I hope it finds it. There we are. So you can see around the Bay Area here, each one of these little yellow dots, or any colored dot, you can see there's several different colors down here at the airport, represents a different climate collection or weather collection site. For our site in the Presidio for this project, we're going to be using, or sorry, not the Presidio, in Golden Gate Park, we're going to be using the Presidio climate data. So if you click on that, you'll see it pops up with the name and the number for the weather station. And then it says TMYX. That stands for typical meteorological year. And then the X stands for kind of shorthand for to say that it's the most recent set of data. And I will explain in class exactly what TMY data is. Commonly, you'll see different types such as TMY2, TMY3. You'll even see some IWEC around this map. So download that TMYX and open up that download, and you'll want to extract that file. And inside that folder, you'll see there are several files, but the one we're going to be using is this EPW file. I'll show you more about that in one moment. So going back to our Grasshopper script here, we can set this to false now. Back again, we're done with that one. And now we need to set the file path for the EPW. So I'm going to right click on the path, go to select one existing file, and then where I just downloaded that EPW file, I'm going to click on it and open it. Note that if you move that file and you open up this file later, it won't know where to look for it. So you might have to select that path if you move that EPW file. It will take a second for everything to populate, but now all those orange components should turn to gray, and you should see those graphs populate on the Rhino canvas. So let me show you some other tricks and tools. If I go, well, actually, let's just follow the numbers first. So we were at number 3. That's good. And actually, it helps to just verify that we're looking at the weather we think we are. So this is San Francisco, Presidio, latitude 37.8, longitude -122, time zone -8, elevation 63. For this, there's lots of different variables that can be looked at in EPW, but we're just using the horizontal illuminance and the total sky cover to generate the graphs. Number 4, the instructions tell you to notice the date, hour, illuminance, and radiation of the selected skies. This whole script here is going to help you to select 2 skies that you will later use for visualizing your data, or sorry, your design. So you'll see here, it should automatically populate with the date that it's selected for this sky. So this sky here, number 4, is a overcast, cloudy, December sky, a darker sky, and it gives the global horizontal illuminance. And then it also gives a file path to find this HDR image. But importantly for this, it shows the direct normal irradiance, which is 5, and the diffuse horizontal irradiance, which is 101. I don't expect you to know these numbers per se, but the lower that direct normal is, the less direct sun there is. So this is a very overcast sky, which we'll see in a second how you can diagnose that. For number 5, we're at the other end of the spectrum. We have a very bright sky on June 11th at noon, and that sky is 95,000 lux. And here the direct normal irradiance is 858. So notice a big difference between the two. The diffuse horizontal irradiance is about the same. It's just a little bit higher, which underscores what we've been talking about in class as far as the sky versus the sun. And then finally, number 6 gives you a file path to find the GIFs that are these 2 GIFs right here. And you can find them at that file path. And in fact, I should open that up and show you. So I'm going to go to Users, Brendon, Simulation, Sky Visualization, Climate. And so here are a whole bunch. Actually, I was doing some trial and error, so this is a whole bunch of different skies that I've generated in the past hour or so while making the script. But you'll be able to find, you'll just have 2 skies that will populate as you open the script. So when you're done making all that, take a screenshot of the graphs. Then you'll have the GIFs of these 2 images, and then lay them out in InDesign or some software of your choosing where you can annotate the graphs and tell us what you see about them. In particular, what elements might be influential, useful, notable for your own design. All right, let me show you real fast a little bit more about the scripts, how they work. I'm not going to go through every component, but I just want to give you a brief overview. So the heat maps are these guys, these 2 graphs right here, and it's showing cloud cover by month and by day, and then the vertical axis is time. So here's noon, here's the morning, here's the afternoon, this is nighttime, and still nighttime there. And then, so this is cloud cover with the darker tones being cloudy conditions, the lighter tones being partly cloudy, and then the blue being clear skies. And then this heat map is showing the global horizontal illuminance. This is, again, the same type of graph as this, where you have the nighttime, sunrise is here, there's noon, sunset, and more nighttime there. You can also make out here that there seems to be some oddity happening here that probably has to do with daylight savings in April. It looks like everything has slipped by an hour or so, and we see a similar thing going on here in December. And I should point out that many times you'll find this in TMY files or EPW files. These climate data files are often very good, especially at the airports, but sometimes, like here we're using the Presidio, it is not perfect. It's important to look them over to make sure that the data that you're using is appropriate. So that is these two heat maps here. And you can see as I highlight them, highlight those components, the actual heat maps highlight. And then we're going to go to the scatter plot down here. This is, unfortunately, there's no sort of pre-made component for scatter plots the way that there is for heat maps. So I made this one from scratch. Basically, that's why this is so much stuff, but it's not that complicated. Basically, there's a set of axis lines, a set of percentile lines, which are these purple ones, and the scatter plot itself for each of the dots, the circles, and then 2 dots for the highlighted skies that we're picking in the second step here, which I'll go over in a second. Those dots occur wherever you selected them, but this one is our June clear sky, and this one is our December overcast sky. This just helps us to see where in the scheme of things, what percentile that sky falls at, and how it relates to the rest of the year. These are simply labels for the chart, so I don't expect you to actually manipulate any of this. It should just work out of the box, but good to know what's there. Looks like a very complicated grasshopper script, but it's not that bad. And then finally, selecting and visualizing the skies. This is a little bit more complex, because what we needed to do was to search all the data. We have 8,760 hours in a year. That's what's coming out of this global horizontal illuminance and total sky cover. And really what we're interested in are 2 design skies, a bright sky and a dark sky. But we don't want to pick something that is extremely bright, and we don't want to pick something that's extremely dark. We want them to be representative of the climate, not the brightest and darkest times. So to do that, I culled the data for hours between 11 and 1 p.m., which then I was able to sort these, and here I can indicate the which percentile of sky I want. So if I change this 85% to say 65%, we'll see this will repopulate and we'll get a darker sky here. Now it's down there. Now I should point out, you're probably thinking, well, that's not the 65th percentile, that's the 84th percentile. And you are correct. This 65th percentile refers to just the hours between 11 and 1, whereas this percentile refers to all daylight hours, which is approximately 4,400 hours or so. So this 85th percentile seems like a nice one to pick. It's at 95th percentile in terms of all hours. It's a nice, bright, sunny hour or point in time. June 11th at noon solar time. So that's what is extracted here, and then we make the sky visualization. This is a hemisphere looking down on the ground. So this is east, this is west, this is south, this is north, and you can see this is around noon. The actual sun is somewhere in here, and this false color image allows us to see more than we would see with just the true color image, or at least we can more precisely see the values. So then these false color components are generating that false color from the HDR image, and I max this out at 20,000, but like for example, if we increase this to 80,000, you'll see where that sun is a little bit better. So you'll see it right in the middle there, but then the rest of the sky is harder to see. So there's kind of a balance in how we set this. On the overcast condition side, in the December sky, we're doing a slightly different operation. We're taking all the December skies between 11 and 1, and we are then sorting them by the cloud cover. So the cloud cover is listed between 0% and 100%, or 0 and 10 in the file, and we want to find a cloudy day or cloudy hour sky condition, and then associated with that cloudy condition, we want to find an appropriate percentile. And so we can use this item selector to adjust which one we're looking at. So for example, if I choose index 0, that will change this to be a different cloudy day. Now this actually doesn't look very cloudy, it's just a very dark day, and so you can look at these for yourself. It will keep generating different skies. This is a partly cloudy day, and so it took me a little bit of searching to find a truly cloudy overcast hour, which is this. So you'll have very different conditions for your design to look at.